40 seconds before the top mark. We're sailing along at about 12 knots of wind, and everything's pretty benign.
Heading towards the top gate for the last time, 35 knots, American Magic. This will be a huge weight off the shoulders.
About 20 seconds before the left turn, breeze comes up to 16, 17, and you can hear the audio on board, and the breeze goes left, so you hear a little bit of high pitch from easing the jib. As we go into the maneuver, Dean makes a clear call, left turn. He'll stay to leeward for the bear away. And as we go to bear away, basically, about a 23.5 knot puff dropped down on top of us, and over she went.
3, 2, 1, and again now.
Whoa, hang on! American Magic! My
And
goodness!
they are over!
They capsized. They capsized.
My most vivid memory is when I heard Dean say, I've lost the rudder.
Oh, lost the rudder here.
I basically, I'm clipped into the boat, so I went to eject myself out of the boat, and my clip didn't come undone, which straight away got my cackles up, and so then I went for the knife. The cockpit filled up straight away, and it very quickly went from everything's in okay to a pretty high fever from my perspective, because I straight away was underwater and pinned underneath the mainsail. As Sicho went by me, he could see that my head was underwater and that I was trapped. Cooper grabbed his knife and cut the left one and got me out. From there, all 4 of us popped out from underneath the mainsail and did the head count, and we were all, everybody was safe.
We counted all 11 people, so it looked like all people were accounted for, all 11 crew members.
Very quickly, it became apparent that Patriot had suffered some major damage, and when we got her upright, it was clear that there was a hole, and it very quickly went to a rescue operation of the boat. At the time, it felt like we had one air pocket in the boat that was keeping her afloat. I think we all thought the boat was going to sink. When Gies raised the orange buoy to the top of the mast, that to me is like a telltale sign that, and he's one of the boat captains. That's a telltale sign that he's preparing for something that is inevitable. So at what point did we realize there was a hole? I think it was within the first 3 minutes when Chase 3 picked up a piece of floating carbon. What caused the hole is that there's some transverse structure in the bow of the boat that, the impact of the hull to the water was quite significant, and basically that structure guillotines the panel out of the boat.
It's going to be a hard maneuver. It's going to be a real hard maneuver. Heading down in 3, 2, 1, heading down now. Oh, lost the rudder here.
In that situation, the boat's designed for a certain amount of impact, but having watched and looked at the pictures, I can tell you we were well beyond the threshold. From a team perspective and the actual saving of Patriot, we had pumps on the water, we have floats on the water, we have basically everything you need to keep the boat from sinking in a worst case scenario. And I would say in retrospect, we were probably a bit underprepared. And we had, and I say that only because we ended up with 16 pumps in the boat. We put 6 of our pumps in the boat. It wasn't enough. We attached all of our marks to the bow and to the stern of the boat, and that would have kept her, had she actually gone underneath the surface. I mean, well, she was, but had she gone completely under, the boat would have floated, a meter below the surface with everything that we had. As we later understood it a little bit more, we only needed enough to float about 4 tons, and we had more than that to keep the boat, with the buoyancy of the water as well. we received some incredible support from the New Zealand authorities, from the fire and rescue. The local authorities showed up with pumps. We received incredible support from, truly unbelievable support from Team New Zealand, from Ineos and Luna Rossa. There was a level of support from the other teams that is a great testament to sportsmanship, to kind of the this mentality that we're all in it together, which we are. I think I have an overwhelming sense of pride, not only in how our team handled the situation, but how the sailing community here in New Zealand handled the situation. The infrastructure that they have in place on the water from a Auckland community perspective was bang on. It was hard because we have 3 years invested into this boat. We have all this support of these great people. We have incredible support from Hap Fouth and Doug DeVos and Roger Penske and the New York Yacht Club. And so I think when you're in that situation, you quickly realize it's not going to be the first mistake that gets you, as it is when we race. It's always going to be the second one. And what the team did an incredible job at was recognizing we couldn't bring her back home bow first, so we had to go in reverse, and we kept the water out of the boat. We made the priority to make sure that our team and our family was safe. And then when we got back to shore, we had a good plan to get the rig out, to get the boat out of the water, and we had a good team meeting inside the shed. And then I think one of the strengths of American Magic and of our team as a whole is the people. And from here on out, we just allowed the people to do their jobs, and not overcomplicate the process, understand what needs to be taken and needs to be done, and then allow it all to happen. And that's, sitting here today, that's what we're doing. Right now, you could probably drive your car into the hole that's in the side of the boat. Small car, but a car nonetheless. But thankfully, we have great Boat 1 and Defiant sitting out in the forecourt that they've taken some of the componentry out of and some of the structure out of Defiant. We've had great support from Team New Zealand and their boat building facility, and they're helping us out with some of the flat panel that gets attached to, that's basically getting rebuilt off the mold that we have. Our boat building team is taking care of the structure inside the yacht. The electronics department is taking care of all the electronics, and everything's been pulled out of the boat. Everything's been tested. We know exactly what has to go back into the boat and what's new and what's not new. And so, we're making great progress almost every hour. I think our determination is to win the regatta. That's our determination. Our expectation is the boat's going to go back in the water, and it's going to be same as it was last Sunday. A minute before we tipped her over, and we had 3 pretty horrendous days in a row. And I don't think any of us are going to let those 3 days beat us. So I'm not. I'm ready to go sailing tomorrow, and when we get the boat back from the shore team, we'll be ready to go.